Okay, so in this video, I'm going to go through fixed length subnetting. So I'm going to make some assumptions at this stage that we know how to convert binary to decimal and decimal to binary. So this spreadsheet, what we've got in front of us here, is essentially a representation of a subnet mask. So 255.0.0.0 is represented by 32 bits, as we should know by now, with the 255 coming from 8 bits used in the first octet, and then 0 in the second octet, 0 in the third octet, and the fourth octet. Similar to an IP address, we're simply just converting the bits from each octet into our decimal number. Okay, so there's quite a bit more information going on here as well. So we've got to remember fundamentals at this stage, that network addresses reserved for networks are moving from left to right, and hosts are moving from right to left. So a Class C network, for example, that's got less hosts than a Class A would be started from the right hand side, whereas a Class A starts from the left hand side. So let's just try and explain this in a bit more detail. So we've got hosts that are moving into power of twos from right to left. So like I say, Class C, you've got less hosts available to you than a Class A, because as we can see, we've only got a maximum of 256 in the fourth octet. We've got 65,536 in the third octet, which would be a Class B. Okay, we've also got subnets assigned to each octet or each class, so we can break those up. And again, a Class B broken up would be a lot larger host wise than a Class C. And then we've got bits assigned to each octet or the whole IP address as well. And the SIDRA notation reflects the amount of bits being used. So /16, for example, is 16 bits used. Okay, so let's get into a sample question. So here's the question. Our ISP has given us the IP address of 192.168.0.0, and we want to break it up into 7 subnets. So I'm dealing with this fourth octet here because I can identify that it's a Class C network. Okay, so I go across this line here for selecting how many networks I need. So 2 is not enough, 4 is not enough, but 8 is enough. We can go over. Now what I do now is I draw a line here. So let's just bring this up on my spreadsheet. Okay, so that's our line. So anything to the left of this line is dealing with network addresses, and anything to the right of it is dealing with hosts. So my new subnet mask is simply, I'm using the /27. So if I write that down, so that's the new SIDRA notation. If I added 27 bits together, I would obviously get 255.255.255 from these 3 octets. Now then I want to add these 3 numbers together, which gives us 224. So that is our new subnet mask, and again that relates to the SIDRA notation, which is a /27. So into the network addresses. Now what I do to make things easier for myself is write in the question in the first one, and now I work down this left column first to make it easier. So I know that this is going to be going up in batches of 32. So we've got 32 hosts available on this network, and we use with this 32 bits left for the network. So all I'll do now is go down this list and going up in batches of 32. So they're my network addresses now. We know we can't use those from hosts. Now the next step is I'll fill in the broadcast address, which is just simply -1 off the network address of the new network. So I might as well just copy all these. Copy all these into here to make it easier. And then 31, 63, 95, 127, 159, 191, 223, and 255. Okay, and then the range again is just simply add 1 to these. 33, 35, 97, 29, 61, 93, 225, and then minus 1 off the broadcast address. 30, 62, 94, 126, 158, 90, 222, 254. Okay, so question might be is what's the first usable address on network 4? So that is your first usable address there. Could be what is the last usable address on network 7, which is that one there. It could be what's the broadcast address on network 5, which is here. It could be what is the network address of network 3, which is here. So those are sort of sample answers that you might get on your test for subnetting, CCNA, etc. For a Class C. Okay, so remember, if a question is how many usable addresses are there, obviously the network to the broadcast is 32 IP addresses, but you're minus 2 off because you can't use the network address and you can't use the broadcast address. So that would be the answer to that. So let's just try a Class B next, which is a bit more difficult, but the same process. Let's write the question out. So our ISP is giving us the IP address of 172.16.0.0, and let's say we want to use 9 IP addresses. Okay, so let's just remove that line so it don't get confusing. Okay, so remember with the Class B, we're working with this octet here, so the third octet. So I need 9. 2's not enough. 4's not enough. 8's not enough. 16 is. Draw my line. So again, anything to the left, we're dealing with network addresses. Anything to the right, hosts. So straight away, the Sidra notation /20 from here. Using 20 bits. The new subnet mask is obviously going to be, we'll keep the defaults in there, 255, 255, and then we're adding these here. So .240.0. So all I've done there is added all these together, all these bits together, and split them up into 3 octets, and then the final octet's a 0. Okay, question might be how many hosts are available on this on these subnets. It's 4,096. So that's the first number on the host column after your line. Okay, so first network address again. Remember, write the answer to the question in, and then we're going to be going up in batches of 16. So the first number in the bits column to the left of your line. So slightly different on this one. 16.0 this time, because again we're using a class B. 72.16.32. 0. 72.16.48.0. 172.16.64.0, and so on. I'm not going to fill them all in. Hopefully you catch my drift from now on. So the next step is I always write the broadcast address in next. So I'll just copy these in. Again, we're subtracting one from the next network. So this one would be, the first one would be dot 15.255. The next one, dot 31.255. Next one, dot 47.255. The next one, dot 63.255. The next one, network, if you want to make life easier for yourself, would be 172.16.80.0. So this one would be 16.79.255. Okay, so those are our broadcast addresses. Our range, again, let's just copy these in. Great, that's all right. First one, that's dot one. Next one, let's just copy in there. This one is 15.254. I was right, sorry, I'm talking again. And this one is dot 31.254. That one. 46. 7. 254. 1. 63.254. 1. And 79.254. Okay, so that should be right. Let me just check. 2.1. Yeah, okay, so remember, sorry, I just got sidetracked with something in the middle of that, but you remember your horse running from right to left, so you'd be filling in the furthest to the right column. So that, for example, in network 1, your range would go up 172.16.0.1 right up to .255, and then it'd go 16.1.0 again. So just so we're clear on that. Okay, so that's subnetting for class C and class B. I recommend you do quite a lot of practice on this to get your head around it, and happy subnetting.